Few, if any, of the court cases that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government has cited in Parliament to defend its record on cracking down on offshore tax evasion have anything to do with millionaires hiding money in overseas tax havens, a review by CBC News has found. In fact, Canadians convicted of tax evasion over the past 2 years are far more likely to be tax protesters or small business people who failed to declare all of their income. The review by CBC News of the list of cases provided by the Canada Revenue Agency also reveals that while the government has talked about 78 convictions, there have only been 49 separate court cases. In its list of 78 convictions between September 2015 and October 2017 provided to CBC News, the CRA counted each article of the law as a separate conviction. For example, in the case of New Brunswick-based George Heating and Plumbing, the agency counted 2 charges against the business as separate convictions, in addition to the convictions of 5 employees for having treated personal expenses as business expenses. While they were all part of the same case with the same court file number, on the CRA's list they counted as 7 of the 78 convictions. The total of 78 has been cited most often by National Revenue Minister Diane Labothelier. But Trudeau and Labothelier's parliamentary secretary, Kamal Khera, have also quoted it in their responses to charges that the government wasn't doing enough to combat offshore tax evasion. However, the review by CBC News of the list of convictions, which used a combination of CRA press releases, news stories and court files, did not find any references to convictions resulting from offshore tax evasion. The government has come under fire during question period in recent weeks in the wake of the release of the Paradise Papers, yet another massive leak of confidential information shared with the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, ICIJ. The news stories that have resulted from the Paradise Papers and their predecessor, the Panama Papers, have sent shockwaves around the world and shed new light on the use of offshore tax havens by some of the world's wealthiest individuals, often to hide assets or reduce their tax bills. Confronted by opposition questions about the government's efforts to crack down on wealthy Canadians who avoid taxes by keeping money offshore, Labothelier has repeatedly argued that the CRA has made progress. "Our government is fully committed to fighting tax evasion and aggressive tax avoidance," she said October 9. In our last 2 budgets, we allocated nearly $1 billion to doing just that. Our plan is working. There have been 627 cases transferred to criminal investigation, 268 search warrants executed and 78 convictions. The CRA is also conducting 990 audits and 42 criminal investigations, she often adds. The CBC News review was confined to the convictions, for which public information was available. While Labothelier's answers were to questions about offshore tax evasion, John Power, spokesman for the minister, said she was referring to the CRA's overall efforts to fight tax evasion. "We have not stated that there were 78 convictions for offshore tax evasion.